Yeah, motivated by friends to come along. And I think he's even played a game with it and just using natural, I don't know, instinct and calling on experience from previous Pokemon play is just able to go so far undefeated in this tournament. And I'm wondering if, you can get that one more, go completely undefeated, take the title here, and just, show again the capabilities of being able to play.
Yeah, I want to say that it's a testament to like how well or like how much experience you've had playing Pokemon that you can grab a team and just be like, yeah, okay, I don't know anything about this format. Going to San Diego next week and be like, you know what, Chase, if you could pass on some of that
wisdom,
that would be so great. I would appreciate that.
Bottle it up and sell it. It would be amazing.
Everyone would love that.
Obviously on Geo's side as well, like I know you've mentioned that the matchup may not necessarily be the strongest here for Geo, but even when you just take a look back at his top 4 game, particularly in game 2, the lead did not look in his favor at all. Indeedee and Tyranitar against the combo that he had, but he was still able to clutch it out, and that Dragonite is something that Chase is going to have to be aware of. I mean, going into this game 1, this is it in the finals today, and it's Gothitelle and Tauros for Geo, and on Chase's side, it's going to be the Garchomp and the Corviknight, some key Pokemon we've seen them be victorious with throughout today's tournament.
All right, and that Taurus's Intimidate is so important here against that Garchomp, but Mirror Armor going to reflect it back into that Taurus, so really it's just going to hurt that Taurus more in the end. But Gothitelle able to trap in all of these Pokemon here and allow Geo kind of like this free reign of himself to choose what he wants to pivot and how.
Yeah, and I think critically getting the Intimidate down on that Garchomp is going to help Geo out a little bit, because Garchomp can throw a couple of spanners in the works when it comes to dealing damage. Gothitelle, however, pinning them in is going to be really nice. We've seen already a couple of times today that Gothitelle going for that fake out with Tauros, being able to deal significant damage, whether it is through the Raging Bull or whether it is through something like Close Combat, has been devastating. And just making sure that Chase doesn't have the utility to swap Pokemon out, whereas Geo has the capability to bring in something like the Dragonite from the back and then Intimidate later on gives him potential, but it's just going to be the Protect on Tauros.
So Tauros is going to make sure it doesn't take any damage this turn. As Gothitelle goes for the fake out into that Corviknight, Garchomp going to have be able to go for the Dragon Claw into Gothitelle, kind of identifying, hey, I need to get rid of this before I can start switching stuff out. Corviknight unable to set up the tailwind that it wanted to. Garchomp, though, is going to take some damage from that Rocky Helmet, which we know is that item on that Gothitelle.
It's interesting, we never normally get to see fake out and protect together from the same player. Normally you go for fake out to utilize something or prevent something while you can take it, kind of capitalize on that. But instead we're just going to see Tauros switching, so a lot of defensive play early in the blocks here for Geo. As that Dragonite does indeed come in, this has been his key Pokemon throughout all of today. You can see why it's a favorite for him in the past, but Chase able to read into that, going for the Dragon Claw into Dragonite thanks to the multi-scale. It is going to be able to survive, and amazing synergy with the Gothitelle, heal pulsing it right back up. Multi-scale is still intact.
Wow, so okay, so this is what happens, right? So the Dragonite switches in, takes damage. Gothitelle's like, it's okay, I got you, and then Corviknight's like, oh no, I'm going to try to do this again. So multi-scale is broken twice in one turn. Gothitelle now showing how even more it's a threat here, and now there's no terrain setup. You're able to go for like the Helping Hand Extreme Speed with the Banded Terra Normal type here. Honestly, just a lot of scary things going on, because now if you're Chase, you have to think, which one do you think is more of the threat for Geo to like go down into it?
Yeah, exactly. Who is Geo going to target? That's what you have to predict here, because Helping Hand, Choice Band, Normal Terra on that Extreme Speed is going to be devastating. Obviously, if you're Corviknight, however, I think you can take it better than that opposing Garchomp, obviously thanks to your typing. But then, I mean, taking a look at kind of the Pokemon on Chase's side, something like the Garchomp doesn't have Protect. So it's going to be in a really vulnerable position. Something like the Corviknight doesn't have Protect. So if you're Chase, you're going to have to make a switch, or potentially your Garchomp's going to go down. But I don't see switches happening here.
No, and just a normal day for Dragonite here, as it terastallizes, is going to get a boost for its possible Extreme Speed. Whatever choice Geo makes here is going to be locked in because of that ban. Extreme Speed is going to be the move of choice here. It's going to go into the Garchomp. Not enough to pick up that knockout. We didn't see actually that Helping Hand, which might have been enough damage to pick up the knockout here. Garchomp going for another Dragon Claw into that Gothitelle. And Gothitelle actually just gonna, take that really nicely. And because of that Rocky Helmet, actually gonna get knocked out from its own move here, as Gothitelle goes for another heal pulse, is gonna heal up that Dragonite again. And I think that's enough. It's enough to reset multi-scale. This Dragonite is just a Pokemon that will not go down, as Tailwind is finally set up for Chase's side. But in the face of something like Extreme Speed, not really that worrisome until Goldengo comes into the field.
Yeah, that's an issue for Geo for sure. The Ghost typing on Goldengo not going to be affected by the Extreme Speed. I mean, I thought that was a little bit unfortunate without the Helping Hand, but actually all worked out with the Rocky Helmet synergy. But if you're Geo here, I mean, you might want to switch out your Dragonite or possibly use it to deal some good damage to the Corviknight. The issue is, if you're not able to deal enough to Corviknight, it can go for a Roost, and then you're just in this really awkward stalemate, and Goldengo can make it rain all day long. At the same time, if you're Goldengo, You can go for something like the Shadow Ball into that opposing Gothitelle there and just try and deal with it a little bit more. But Meowscarada, a really nice adjustment here from Giovanni. I think the critical thing is to reset the band on that Dragonite, and Chase is like, I know you're going to switch. I'm going to go for this nasty plot, making Goldengo so formidable that it can go for 2 Make It Rains without reducing its stats. Brave Bird is going to connect onto Meowscarada, however. It's going to take it down to its focus sash and deal a significant chunk of recoil.
This is just a testament to like how well like these players can like really know each other, right? Because now you're at the spot where like, oh, Chase looks at it and says, hey, I'm free to go for like that nat spot. I'm free to just make sure that I have that boosted like special attack, so I don't have to worry about sort of like that knockdown from that first Make It Rain. And I mean, the Corviknight getting that Meowscarada on switch, I mean, no matter what Pokemon was there, it was going to have to take a lot of damage from that Corviknight's Brave Bird. But Gothitelle going for the Rock Tomb, I think that Rock Tomb is so nice, and just for an extra form of sort of speed control, because now you're like in a really kind of scary position as Meowscarada is forced to protect this one or get knocked out.
Yeah, just go straight for a Protect here as Corviknight does indeed capitalize and go for that Roost, regaining a lot of HP. And when you look at the Pokemon on Geo's side, you've got to try and find a way to break through this defensive capability of the Corviknight. Meowscarada is going to be protecting itself from the Goldengo that is going to go for Make It Rain. It is going to pick up the KO on Gothitelle, however, this does give you the opportunity to bring something like that Dragonite back in. But you can see as well, this Corviknight has utility to go for something like the Body Press, and that's going to hurt into the normal type the Dragonite currently is posing. Tauros, however, is going to be the Pokemon coming out.
And Tauros actually gonna have another Intimidate, but we saw in that like that turn 1 that when it came out that Mirror Armor returns that Intimidate back into his own Pokemon. So really interesting choice. I mean, not gonna really matter much because Goldengo is obviously, you know, a special attacker here. But Meowscarada is still in kind of like a tough position where it's already procced its Focus Sash. It's still gonna be slower than like the Pokemon here, and a Corviknight back up at full health. And honestly, kind of just like in the back burner because that Dragonite in the back is in a really tough position no matter what.
Yeah, particularly if that Goldengo obviously is going to stay in his Ghost type form here. Meowscarada getting out of there, which I think is quite wise. You need it to be able to try and deal with something like the Goldengo with something like a knockoff towards the end. Tauros is going to go for the Protect though, as of course Dragonite has switched back in. It's going to be the Body Press coming out from Corviknight. It's not going to deal too much because obviously multi-scale was still in effect, and we haven't seen any, you know, massive boosts on something like the Corviknight here, but the boosts are coming up on Goldengo, boosting up a special attack again with a nasty plot.
Oh, and you know what? That Mirror Herb is gonna copy that as well. But you know, Tauros is a physical attacker, not a special attacker. So now though that the Tailwind has run out, that speed drop from earlier might actually matter a little bit here for you. I'm gonna have to worry because now you're locking into something here with that Dragonite. You're really gonna have to like consider what banded move you're gonna lock into, because if you stay with that Extreme Speed, you're never gonna touch that Goldengo.
Yeah, that's really true. The Dragonite's in a difficult situation, but we saw Gio in a similar position in his top 4 match and was just able to still work around it. Goldengo is going to go for a Protect, however, and it does allow Chase kind of the opportunity to scout out what this opposing Dragonite is going to go for. Flare Blitz comes out, however, from, of course, the Fire typing on that Tauros. That's the option that Gio has gone for out of the 3 Tauros options you can get from Paldea, forcing Corviknight to have to go and eat its berry and regain a little bit of HP thanks to the Citrus.
And Dragon Claw from Dragonite going to be the move of choice that it locks into. Not going to do that much damage into that Corviknight, but Corviknight free one more time to go up for that Tailwind, and so Goldengo protecting itself on this turn, just gonna make sure that, you know, it's able to have that speed advantage for later on. Make It Rain just really free to just rain terror down onto both the Dragonite and Tauros, because honestly now that you've locked into that, there's not gonna be really much that you can do. Like Body Press into that Dragonite, it's just gonna be absolutely terrible. But Brave Bird instead going into that Tauros is gonna pick up that knockout here. So thanks to that speed move from Tailwind, Tauros is no longer the fastest one on the field here. Corviknight will take a little bit of damage from that recoil here as Goldengo goes for a Make It Rain, was able to get that that boost from that nasty part earlier, is going to pick up the knockout here on that Dragonite, leaving that Meowscarada with 1 HP as Geo's only Pokemon.
Yeah, and we know Meowscarada doesn't have a way to target both Pokemon, so it's just going to be a matter of clicks here for Chase to be able to take this game 1. But I mean, I have to really talk about Corviknight here. It's not a Pokemon I expected to do well necessarily in this format, but its defensive capabilities are so strong, and when you combine that with something like being Terra Water, in the face of a lot of fire types in the format, you know, we've got Arcanine running around as well, we've got Torkoal running around, things like that. Being able to switch into that water type just allows it that extra defensive capability. Going for Roost, Brave Bird, you can regain HP, you can set up Tailwind. I mean, Gio is now, I think, just flexing on us all. Oh no, this is Chase.
Yeah, I will say I don't think Torkoal runs around anywhere really with its speed. But
okay, it kind of slopes around, but it's still there. It's present, okay?
Yeah, I mean, okay, if you're looking at like game 2 now, right? If you're looking at Gio's game, I think honestly you could probably leave the Tauros behind because the Intimidate's not really going to do much with that Corviknight there, right? That Corviknight, I think, for Chase is the Pokemon that's like absolutely just like blocking Gio's team from doing doing anything. And I think if you're looking at it, maybe Talonflame might actually be a pretty decent choice, because at least you can try to match Tailwinds at that point, right? You have priority Tailwind thanks to the Gale Wings ability, like to your Gale Wings ability, but but there's a little bit of a different thing now that if you think about it, like the speed control aspect here is so much more important. Like sure, you have Gothitelle with the Rock Tomb and able to slow down things by one stage, but one, it's a single target move, and two, Chase's Corviknight has just always been free to just sort of set up Tailwind every single game that we've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Corviknight really is just something that's a wall that Geo can't seem to break through at the minute. And we were just kind of taking a look at the team sheet and seeing if there's anything really beyond Tauros going for something like the Flare Blitz. And you mentioned the Talonflame, but there isn't a Flare Blitz on the Talonflame on Geo's side. You know, Brave Bird, Feint, Will-O-Wisp, Tailwind, that's what we've got here on, you know, the team sheet. And that's information that Chase has access to as well, of course. So he's not going to fear the Talonflame at all. Taking a look through, it's hard to see. There's no other, you know, strong fire type moves coming out. There is of course the Thunderbolt on the Goldengo that we saw previously in, you know, other Goldengo forms, and it's interesting to see if that's possibly a way that Geo can counter that opposing Corviknight.
It's just, honestly, it is a really tough matchup now that like we've seen that first game. That Corviknight is really just sort of just a wall in the form of like a giant bird for Geo's team. I think it's just a little rough when, like, you know, you're trying to get Intimidates down into opposing Pokemon and then it's gonna bite you back because of that Mirror Armor. And like Mirror won't really do much for you in that aspect. They're still laughing, so that's a good sign, I think, for us at least. But I mean, they're having fun, which is all you can really ask for in a Pokemon game. But we'll see what the adjustment is here, and it's actually gonna be that Goldengo next to that Gothitelle's Corviknight and Hydreigon. So Corviknight, you know, like fantastic Pokemon. Hydreigon also actually kind of terrifying because Goldengo just does not like
exactly
on the battlefield.
I mean, this is the thing. Goldengo can also hit Corviknight on the special side. Corviknight's strength comes from its insane defense stats, so something like the Thunderbolt is going to hurt the Corviknight for sure, particularly if you pair it up with something like the Helping Hand from that Gothitelle, which is why I love the way Chase has led this, bringing the Corviknight knowing, hey, having a look at the team sheet, Geo could make this adjustment with Goldengo, so I need my Dark type Pokemon that's going to be able to apply pressure to that Goldengo in return.
And Hydreigon actually going to go for a Protect this turn, not opting to attack into that Goldengo, which it actually usually is able to. As Gothitelle goes for the Fake Out into that Hydreigon spot, is going to hit into that Protect instead, so Goldengo is going to be free to move this turn. Is going for that Thunderbolt, like you had said before, does a lot of damage to that Corviknight, is going to proc that berry.
Oh, I guess the paralysis
as well, which is a huge thing for him. We're going to see if it's going to matter for this turn specifically. Goldengo is going to lose a bit of HP with that Life Orb, as Corviknight chomps down on that berry, gets back HP, is in the green one more time, and is able to set up the Tailwind this turn for Chase, which is going to be huge for him.
That's the thing, the board now switches into Jace's kind of benefit here, because Hydreigon's going to be nice and fast, can go for that Dark Pulse. Goldengo's not really going to stand a chance at this point. I mean, Goldengo does have the opportunity to Terra into the Flying type just to be able to see if he can survive out this Dark Pulse, and then it can still deal big damage to something like the Corviknight, but at the same time Chase can just double up into Goldengo thanks to the Tailwind being up, making it super fast on his side of the field, and then Goldengo's not going to be able to Thunderbolt at all.
Yeah, it's not going to matter much after that point, right? But Goldengo's just going to get the heck out of dodge here, as Tauros is actually still going to be the Pokemon of choice here for Geo. We've seen it intimidate, we've seen the same story
You
before.
sound so doubtful of this Tauros.
Hey, you know, when you take the bull by the horns, you kind of gotta mess with the rest of it, and I'm not ready for like this Tauros. But Gothitelle actually a double switch in this Dragonite comes into the play as well. I think it's just because like the Intimidate like doesn't really offer much here at this moment, but Dark Pulse is gonna break that multi-scale on that Dragonite. Hydreigon will lose its HP thanks to that Life Orb from Corviknight. The only thing it'll have to show for having taken that Thunderbolt, honestly, at this point, is going to be that paralysis that it's still sustaining. Dragonite's really... Dragonite and Tauros, I think, kind of got the worst end of this switch-in, because now your multi-scale is broken and your Tauros is down one stage of attack.
Yeah, that's really true. It's a difficult situation for Geo to be in here, but when there's a Dragonite, there's a way, as we've seen a couple of times with him, and it is one of those key Pokemon. You know, you still have the utility to go for something like a powerful Extreme Speed, but the issue, once again, on Geo's side, is how you're going to deal with this opposing Corviknight, because we know that it's going to be able to take damage from something like the Flare Blitz on the Tauros, but the Hydreigon's going to be terraforming here for Chase. It's going to be the Steel-type Hydreigon here, which again is really, really nice, gives it that defensive capability with Levitate, doesn't have to worry about the Earthquake potential that this opposing Dragonite will go for, while instead going first anyway thanks to the Tailwind. It's going to be able to knock out the Dragonite straight away. So sad times for Geo there, one of his key Pokemon has gone.
Yeah, no terastallizing on there. I think just expecting like it was gonna go down anyway, no matter what would happen on this turn. As Taurus actually goes for the close combat into that high Dragon, is able to pick up that knockout thanks to the super effective damage from that Steel Terra. So I mean, you trade Pokemon with each other in this moment, but I honestly, like, I think, you know, not terrorizing like the Dragonite would make a really smart idea in there because it's already just taking so much damage here. As Corviknight goes for the Brave Bird, is going to do super heavy damage to that Taurus. It's enough to pick up that knockout, unfortunately, here. Taurus going down, not really able to show much for it, except, you know, the one stage knockout for, like, the one stage down with attack and then Intimidate. Goldengo and Skeletor are going to be in the back here. Chase is just putting offensive pressure, and that Corviknight is just absolutely walling this team right now.
Yeah, that's the issue with close combat though as well. You know, it drops your defenses, making you more vulnerable to something like the Brave Bird from that Corviknight. Goldengo is going to come out for Geo, however, paired up with the there's obviously the Goldengo on Chase's side as well, and Gothitelle is going to resume play as well. This is where things can again get interesting, where Goldengo can go for something on Geo's side like that Thunderbolt into that opposing Corviknight. At the same time, it could go for something like a Shadow Ball into the opposing Goldengo. But I think you have to watch out for those Tailwind turns on Chase's side, and I think that's where Geo's going to have to start stalling things out a little bit, going for the fake out into that Corviknight again.
Yeah, and I don't think we've seen the Terrasilize yet from Geo's
No,
side,
we haven't.
So he is going to be able to at least save it a little bit. It's Goldengo protecting itself, and Corviknight flinching this turn. I think that it should be, the Tailwind petering out on this turn, so speed's back to normal, as it is a 2 versus 3 now on Chase's side. That Corviknight has just, despite the fact that it's been paralyzed, is just still in a really great spot all the time to just keep clicking Tailwind, keep just, you know, boosting and doing all this stuff. As Chase's Goldengo is now going to be protecting this turn, so it'll be a switch between the Goldengos and who's protecting. As Geo's Goldengo goes for the Shadow Ball into the protected Goldengo on Chase's side, Gothitelle might be able to move this turn. Goes for the Rock Tomb, is not going to be able to connect into the Goldengo. That Protect just absolutely saving it. And now that Corviknight free once more to go for a Tailwind.
Yeah, you know, I would love to have seen Helping Hand Thunderbolt there, particularly knowing how slow the Corviknight is when it is paralyzed. I think it would have been nice to be able to, from Geo's perspective, just wipe the Corviknight off the map and just gain that momentum a little bit more, possibly then terroring your Goldengo in the next turn, but still going for the Shadow Ball to pick up the KO against it. Instead, Chase, with the speed advantage, is able to go for a Shadow Ball into Geo's own Goldengo, does get the KO, and of course Gothitelle's just looking towards Goldengo going, that's coming for me next.
Yeah, and honestly, like, at this point, if you're looking at the Gothitelle doesn't really have a lot of, like, offensive capabilities to really just take on a Goldengo, a Corviknight, and then that Skeletor that was in the back. So Corviknight's Brave Bird, you know, not doing much damage here, gonna get hurt by the Rocky Helmet, but really at the end of the day, it's just a matter of time before this Gothitelle goes down.
Yeah, and you have to, you know, again, really praise Chase, the fact he's picked up this team and just absolutely steamrolled today, going undefeated and winning the tournament today.
Yeah, so congratulations, Chase. That was an absolute clean sweep. All 5 rounds of Swiss, straight into top cut, not dropping a single round there. You know, just absolutely fantastic for him. I actually don't know if he ever went to a game 3 in any of them. I'm, like, actually tempted to ask him really fast, holding me one second. Hey, Chase, did you drop a single game today? Yeah. Okay.
So it wasn't quite the full undefeated run.
Yeah, but still, like, you know, going undefeated in Swiss, going straight to top cut and just winning, like, I guess players from, like, right now Texas is where he lives, you know, you really got to watch out for them. So, but hey, if Chase can do it, I mean, you can too. You can pick up a team and do well too.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about, you know, getting involved, taking part, you know, taking the wins and the losses alongside each other as well. And, you know, even though Chase has won, he may have broken a few hearts in the form of Geo, particularly in that final. But at the end of the day, this is kind of the excellent prep that you can have going into a big regional tournament like San Diego next weekend.
Yeah, I was super excited for that. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, though.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me and us being able to commentate not only, you know, a little bit together, but the whole day. And it's been such a nice, relaxed broadcast and, you know, having a lot of fun, kicking back with some friends. I think it's been a really cool day. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed it at home as well. Yeah,
again, one more time, though, thank you for POW Gaming for hosting us. Psycho Turtle Play will also has tournaments on Wednesdays and Saturdays for Super Smash Brothers. So just go ahead and keep a lookout for that. Whenever we have our next VGC tournament, we'll go ahead and let you know. Unfortunately, I don't think we can get loot in here all the way from Germany. So this was a wonderful New Year's Day treat for us. And we are so happy that we had you here today. I'm personally very happy.
We'll have to get you over to Germany. And then when I'm running locals and things, you'll have to commentate with me.
But thank you guys for spending the day with us. We really appreciate it. And have a good rest of your night.
Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year.